Welcome to the Finance and Budget Delegated Committee for May 13, 2024. I'd like to start by acknowledgement of country. Wodonga Council acknowledges Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people as the first inhabitants of the country and as traditional custodians of the land. We respect their ancestors, elders and young people and recognise their continuous connections to lands, waters and communities across the country. Apologies, request for leave of absence and request to attend by electronic means. We have apologies from Councillor Poulton and from Councillor Simpendorfer, and everybody else is in attendance. Item number 3, declaration by councillors of any conflict of interest. Are there any conflicts, councillors? No. Item number 4, confirmation of minutes from the previous meeting. Do I have a motion, please? Councillor Quilty, as recommended. Councillor Lowe, Councillor Quilty or Councillor Lowe, anything to speak? I put the motion. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. The next item is item 5.1, item 5, reports for determination. 5.1, council plan and budget items where councillors have a conflict of interest. There's been no conflicts declared, so this matter is not relevant. Any comment? Anybody wish to make comment about any of that? So moving right along to item 5.2. Draft council plan as adjusted for 2024. Do I have a motion, please? Councillor Quilty, as recommended. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Hall, you put your hand up. Councillor Quilty, do you wish to speak?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just briefly, we are looking at the council plan for 2021-2025. It is fitting to review it after having it in place for 4 years, and just for that alone, and especially because we need to have it linking into to have it linking with our draft budget and everything else that we're planning, all the strategic documents. We are faced with a number of challenges this year, such as financial sustainability while continuing to provide the services to the public. So the adjustments are necessary, and we would like to get the public comments on what we have done, what we have adjusted. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Quilty. Councillor Hall.
No, I think Councillor Quilty's sort of highlighted what the council plan is about. It always goes out with our draft budget. It's about planning for the future, and the budget is adopted around our council plan. So this will go out for feedback and come back up to the council meeting on the 24th of June. Thank you.
Councillors. Councillor Chamberlain.
Yeah, I'd just like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the amount of work put in by staff, in particular, to put this stuff together in a difficult period. As everyone is aware, it's been a difficult financial period for everybody concerned, not least councils. And just to reiterate a couple of points that are in the Mayor's letter at the beginning of the council plan, as it goes out to the public, in that this plan seeks to prepare and deliver projects, programs and services to meet constant population and urban growth and create a more livable and prosperous city. We're trying to be responsible with our ratepayers' money, and we need to make sure that we can deliver what council is required to deliver within the confines of the budgets that we have. And this plan seeks to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Chamberlain. Councillor Lowe.
Thank you. I echo my fellow councillors' words. We're putting this adjusted draft out through to some financial restraints have been uncovered, but you could probably see this council plan is probably similar to the draft budget. Really, it's we replaced the word "do" with "advocate." Is probably a good summarisation with the overall plan. So instead of going out and doing things for community, we're going to go out and advocate. We all know how advocating on deaf ears works sometimes, so I'll be interested to hear the community feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lowe. Councillor Coulty to close. I put that motion. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. The next item is item 5.3, service review prioritisation. Do I have a motion, please? Councillor Lowe, as recommended. Seconder, Councillor Chamberlain. Councillor Lowe.
Yeah, due to this is just further service reviews which are needed. We're just following on from last year where we undertook some service reviews and engaged AEC, which unearthed some problems in our financial sustainability. So it's just drawing down further on that, and the matrix which they use, which is anyone that wants to go through the paperwork and see, is just prioritising why these should be done before any other of their 80-odd service departments. So it's much needed. I'll be voting in favour tonight.
Thank you, Councillor Lowe. Councillor Chamberlain.
Can I request a quick amendment to this in light of discussions at the briefing this morning that Councillor Lowe may not be 100% au fait with, and give a chance to him to see whether he agrees with it? As recommended, with a note 3, that we request that the Waste Management Department be considered for a service review in next year's 25-26 budget. Now this is in regard to the fact that we had it earmarked previously. It has been bumped basically, and we just want to identify that it's somewhere we need to think about looking at next time round.
With the mover and seconder both happy, the minute taker can include that in. Thank you. Councillor Chamberlain, yes.
Yeah, just a couple of quick highlights in this stuff. The priorities, obviously, we can't review everything. It'd be nice to be able to turn around and say, well, let's have a real look at everything we're doing. But realistically, we've got to itemise and prioritise what's the most important, what gives us the most bang for buck. We are playing with other people's money. And the most significant things that we can do. And although it would be nice to be able to include the waste management of the city in this review, I don't think it's appropriate to do it now, given the fact that a couple of the things involved with it are going to be in a state of flux with state governments and etc. So just putting out there that extra point that we have a look at that for the next time around, just to identify the fact that we can see that as an area that we need to have a look at some stage, but the timing's not right. So therefore, our priorities are somewhere else this year, but we'll continue with all of that stuff, and hopefully we'll get some efficiencies, some savings and some improved service delivery out of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Chamberlain. Other councillors? Councillor Hall?
Yes, exactly. The Finance, Budget and Budget Delegated Committee, which is what we're here today doing, was an instigator of doing these reviews after having, if we hadn't have instigated this, we probably wouldn't know the detail of where we sit on many things in this council. It's given us an opportunity to look at, as Councillor Chalmers said, efficiencies, cost, what we will provide service-wise going forward. Also gives the opportunity for feedback at some stage with the community. But it's been vital information and it's helped with regard to putting together this budget, which is it's been a difficult budget, but I think it's the most responsible and sustainable going forward. And I think staff and councillors have done a really good job in getting us into a position, probably better than ever before, with the view of what we've found with doing these reviews. So I'm very happy with the outcomes. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hall. Other councillors? Councillor Lowe to close.
Thank you again. Just echo the words of fellow councillors. It's these service reviews are basically, in layman's terms, drill down to true cost of business. You know, we look for efficiencies where we can. We look for things that we do well, and if we can do them better. And sometimes that's not just a monetary value. It could be a number of different things. So I look forward to seeing the outcomes of these reviews. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lowe. I'll put that motion. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. The next item is item 5.4, which is the 24-25 draft budget and the 24-25 draft financial plan. Just before we go into this, I'd like to acknowledge the very, very diligent work that's been done in what's been quite a challenging year of putting a budget together. The staff that have put this together have worked extraordinary hours and done an extraordinarily good job. They've gone down the path of investigating many things that have come up through the process, many questions that have arisen through, as was previously referred to, the service reviews, things that have emerged out of inquiry and questioning about different matters and different aspects of our budgetary processes. This has been quite a difficult budget, and I just wish to say thank you to the staff that have really worked and done far beyond the normal hours that would be necessary in a ordinary year to come up with a budget that sets us up with, although it's a 2 or 3 year program, this budget sets Wodonga Council up for the potential to be really solid looking into the future. And that's something that's a credit to our staff. Do I have a motion, please? Councillor Chamberlain?
As recommended.
As recommended. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Lowe, Councillor Chamberlain.
First, and certainly not least, I want to echo the Mayor's statements. Fantastic body of work done by our finance team in particular, with a specific focus on Brent. Wonderful job. And Dina's people in general. The work they've done on this has been extraordinary, and I'm far more comfortable with the numbers that we've got in front of us now than I've ever been before. So we appreciate that, and I think the draft budget's got a couple of highlights in it. One of those things is $60.7 million investment in services to meet the evolving needs of our residents. Not insignificant, we are delivering. $15.8 million towards capital works. So again, even though we're in a tight financial situation, it doesn't mean we're not continuing to build and provide capital works. And a modest underlying surplus, which is a financially responsible position to be in, and sets us up, as the Mayor's already stated, going forward to be sustainable financially, which is, let's be honest, priority number one for a local council. We need to give our ratepayers good value. Unfortunately, we can't turn around and say it's all fine, you don't have to pay any rates anymore, because you do. There are a number of charges that will increase, not least of which is the fire levy, which has been increased by the state government, which we have no control over. But generally speaking, we've tried to keep the rate rises to a minimum, and we've tried to give value for money. And that's where we're heading forward. And we're heading with a far better view on what's happening around us due to the work mainly of our finance department, and it's greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Chamberlain. Councillor Lowe. Any other councillors? Councillor Hall.
Okay, so this is the draft budget. Everywhere you look and go, costs have risen that much. It feels like living costs are out of control. I'm feeling it, and I know many others will be as well, especially for those who are on fixed incomes. Whilst I would have preferred to put forward a lower rate rise to our community than the 2.5 this budget is putting forward, I know this time I know at this time, in present financial circumstances, it would not be achievable without doing some real cost cuts to council's provided services. This council has had to do some real heavy lifting with this budget. Without the establishment, as I said before, at the last years of our Finance Budget Delegated Committee, I think we would not have had this opportunity to delve deeper into the council's real financial position. This has required a lot of extra work by the councillors as well as the CEO and council staff to achieve. So again, thank you to Brent and Dina and the staff. We engaged independent consultants to look at running the whole organisation, and it came back that we had some real issues. That being, for starters, we've got a 2.8 million recurring cost deficit. Building infrastructure like Barranduda Fields, the Hythe Library Gallery, swimming pools, sporting facilities, as well as unlegislated services that council provide our community come at big recurring costs to ratepayers. So to put it bluntly, we were spending above what we were receiving in revenue. Like any household budget, without addressing the deficit going forward, our financial position would be tenuous. There are a few ways of dealing with this, and one way was doing a restructuring of council operations and the implementation of the proposed budget does address the cost structures across the service that council provides. We could have applied for a rate exemption from the state government and significantly raise the council rates well above the rate cap. Having said that, though, we would have had to provide strong possibility that there was a strong possibility that this wouldn't have been approved of, as the council would have needed exceptional evidence to provide to the state government to be given approval for the exemption. I wasn't personally wanting to do that, and I believe that others in the community, I believe that others in the council wanted to address the rates in another way rather than putting them up above the cap. As a council, we have to live within our means, and it's like a household budget. We're still providing a capital works program of $16 million. With also the budget, there's a 2.75% increase. There will be a $36.25 increase to waste and curbside charges. We also still have a borrowing debt of 11 million, just over 11 million. So, that's a 20-year-old debt that we're still trying to pay off. And there's also a $35 rise in the state government fire services levy, which isn't a cost that we've implemented. It's a state government cost that's put onto the fire service levy in the rates. So overall, I'm happy with where we're headed. There's a 2% increase in the forward estimates in the next 9 to 10 years rate rise. So where we go will depend on our finances at the time, but I'm happy with the overall position of the budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hall. Other councillors? Councillor Quilty.
Thank you, everyone. Particularly thank you, Councillor Hall, for the detailed analysis of what we have in the budget in front of us. I'll try not to repeat the other speakers, but just point out a couple of other things. Firstly, of course, it is the last budget in this council tenure, and personally, the first time that I will be supporting the budget that is built on at-cap rate rise. Despite this, I'm very proud of what we as council, as finance and budget committee have achieved in this year's budget. And just like other councils, I'm very grateful to the staff, to Dina and her team and Brent, who have put in a lot of work into this budget and have helped us immensely with providing any requested information, giving us various models and taking us on this difficult path and helping us make sure that we have come up with a reasonable, responsible budget, and that given the circumstances and our financial sustainability challenges, that we really hardly could do better. One thing I would like to point out that's built into this budget is the so-called optimization dividend of just under 3 million, which we are hoping to progressively realize over the next 10 years. This optimization dividend is the amount of money that we need to have, that we need to either generate through revenue, which would have meant raising rates above rate cap, or generating additional revenue in some other ways, of which councils have very limited means to do, or optimizing our costs, reducing our costs, and achieving strong efficiencies. And this is what we have done. Brent and Dina have actually done quick studies for us of ways other councils generate revenue other than the rates, and we have satisfied ourselves that this is not the path that would be prudent for us to go. We need to continue to provide services. We need to continue to work on capital improvements and capital growth. We need to continue to pay off our debt and the interest, which is also the cost to the community. Therefore, we can't go any lower than 2.75, but given the current climate, our financial obligations, and everything that we have already done and achieved, I don't believe we could go any lower than that. So yes, I'm with my hand on my heart, I'm happy with what we've done, satisfied, and I will be supporting this draft. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Quilty. Councillor Lowe, you're reserved.
Question before I speak to, I know Councillor Simpfendorf wrote something out that he wanted read out to in his absence. Has he sent that in? Am I able to read one on his behalf? You're more than welcome to read it off my email.
Thank you. If you read it, then that eats into your time. But otherwise, you're welcome to read it.
Can I suspend standing orders while I read it then? I'll move the motion to suspend standing orders.
There's been a motion to suspend standing orders. I put that motion. All those in favour? Okay, carried. So, Libby and Olga against. Councillor Lowe.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm sure Councillor Simpfendorfer will appreciate that. And I also appreciate the fact that I don't eat into my time as well. I acknowledge that I cannot cast a vote in these matters. However, I wanted to ensure I represent those that have put me here to address this crucial step in our collective journey for a city where everyone can thrive. The authorisation of the draft council budget and draft financial plan for public display and comments marks a significant milestone in our collective efforts to shape the future of our community. As we embark on this process, it is imperative that we align our fiscal decisions with the vision and mission that define our city's aspirations. Our vision is clear. We strive to be a progressive, well-planned and growing city. But let us not forget the essential qualifier in that vision, affordability. Our city must remain accessible to all, ensuring that opportunity is not a privilege, but a right for every resident. In pursuing this vision, we are guided by the principle of strong, empathetic stewardship. This isn't just about balancing the books, it's about ensuring that every dollar spent reflects our commitment to the well-being of our community. Every line item in our budget must resonate with our mission to strengthen the community in all that we do. As we open this budget for public display and comment, I urge each of you to engage thoughtfully and critically. Recall and remember the journey and the decisions that have got us to this point. Your comments, your voice is an opportunity to shape the very fabric of our city's future. Your input is invaluable, for it is through the diversity of perspectives that we can truly build a budget that serves the needs for all our residents. Not just a minority of opinions from those who are enthusiastic enough to engage and reply, or a one-sided view. But let us not lose sight of our ultimate goal, to create a city where everyone can thrive. Let us ensure that our budget reflects our commitment to this and not simply rely on negativity and cuts that as the only option. Let us prioritise investments that uplift our whole community and provide some level of hope and dreams for our future. In the coming weeks, as you review the budget and share your feedback, remember that you are not just scrutinising the numbers, you are shaping destinies. Together, let us seize this opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to a future where our city stands as a community of progress, compassion and opportunity for all. Thank you, Councillor Simpfendorfer.
Thank you, Councillor Lowe. Any other councillors wish to? Councillor Quilty.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Lowe, for reading this out, and I will also ask you to pass my thanks to Councillor Simpfendorfer for taking the time to read, put together this message and send it to us. I'm somewhat surprised that the rest of us, or at least me, and as I understand the Mayor, did not receive this message. All we received from Councillor Simpfendorfer prior to this meeting is a short notice saying that he won't be here. Councillor Simpfendorfer's absence has unfortunately been felt acutely during most briefing meetings and during most of the meetings of this committee. And those were the times when a lot of work and a lot of discussion has taken place about what we can do. And given that we are, to use Councillor Simpfendorfer's very good words, shaping the future of this city, I think we should all make one little extra effort, despite our personal and work circumstances, to be here. I'm looking forward to seeing Councillor Simpfendorfer during the meeting, the regular council meeting, when we make this vote on the budget, and engaging in the proper debate with him on the ways we can shape the city future. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Quilty. Other councillors? Do you wish to make any of your own comments? Councillor Lowe?
yeah, that some of that debate should have just happened when Councillor Simpfendorfer was sitting here as opposed to grandstanding. Anyway.
Councillor Hall?
Yeah, just also like to add, when surveys were done, there was 57% said that they wanted rates not to go up, or, you know, I mean, realistically, yeah, rates were a concern to them. And this budget has, as I said, we've been very mindful of the impact to the community, and in a very, you know, tedious financial time for everyone. And I think that we've done a very responsible budget here. The rate cap is, you know, of a reasonable amount of money. It especially adds up when you, you know, when you're going off an already high base. So we've been very mindful of all of this, and we're not cutting services. So, you know, that's something, and as I said, there's a $16 million capital works program. So I think overall, I think we've got a pretty good deal going forward. And as I said, our forward estimates has us in the, not in the deficit, it has us with a surplus. And that's thanks to a lot of work by our staff. And I think it's the only responsible way to deal with this budget going forward.
Thank you, Councillor Hall. I guess I have to accept the motion. Seconding, yes? Okay, I'll put that motion. All those in favour? You carried unanimously. Right. Okay. Councillors, given that the statement was read outside in standing orders, that brings into place a right of reply. Any councillors wish to respond to any of the information that was raised? Yep. No, nobody does. So, Councillor Lowe, you reserved, so you...
Thank you, and thank you again for letting me read that out. Here's what we know. We enter this draft with our eyes wide open, a statement we've heard many times. One of the outcomes of the review from AEC identified a potential problem in our budget. There was some cost of business that weren't shown into the future. In commercial terms, true cost of business. In essence, spending outstripped revenue due to ongoing costs to maintain infrastructure that weren't identified in budgets. With this now identified, it showed that an immediate action was necessary to reduce our recurrent spending by 2.8 million a year. Whilst there was many opinions on how this should be done, the fact was it needed to be done. This was absolutely fiscally responsible to do. The CEO and staff did an amazing job at making this happen with as little impact in the immediate to the community as possible. Whilst making these reductions, we lost some great staff, whom personally I would like to thank them for their service to our community, because they were not only great staff, but great people. During the reductions process, staff also identified that the 10-year outlook was probably worse than first anticipated. And as you can see in this draft, we will need to continue to make operational reductions into the future as well. Here's also what we know about our 10-year draft budget. There's no allocation for any further all ability changes places. There's no allocation for upgrading our senior citizens building. There's no allocation for a second body of water at Waves. There's no allocation for any further works at Barranduda Fields. There's no allocation for works on our hills for either walking, running, riding or accessibility. There's no allocation for any economic development, to name a few. This draft must absolutely be about financial stewardship. In my opinion, some of this draft rips the community out of community. Question, does it align with our council vision? And as a reminder, our council vision is this: to be progressive, well-planned, growing city that is affordable, offers an abundance of opportunities and led by strong, empathetic stewardship. Here's what we don't know. How do we yield additional revenue without raising rates so we can put the community back into community to give them some hope? What are the opportunities we're missing out on to increase revenue, all because some councillors will not even entertain the thought of entering discussions of thinking outside the square for the betterment of our community, to help get some of the aforementioned back into our plan? It beggars me that some can put so much effort into cutting but can't put the same effort into the question: how can we provide better for our community?
Sorry, point of order, Councillor Hall.
I believe that's derogatory commentary to councillors, other councillors.
Specifically, which bit do you think is derogatory?
In regard to that we never put an effort into looking at other financial areas of to provide for what Councillor Lowe said for the bigger infrastructure items. He's saying that we have worked on that. You know, it's not actually a true comment. And Councillor Lowe was involved at every workshop and didn't provide us with any information that could have helped go forward with that.
Thank you, Councillor Hall. I think there's an element of accuracy in the point of order. I think a reference that other councillors haven't considered things in the manner that the context within which it was said was probably across the line in being a bit too pointed. So I might ask Councillor Lowe to withdraw that component and then to continue.
I accept your ruling, Mayor, and I withdraw that component. It's about providing for our community. Our council mission, to strengthen the community and all we can do. I mention this because I want to hear from all our community, their thoughts, ideas and input regarding the draft budget, as this is their draft budget. Whether you're a ratepayer, because I will note and point out that a lot of the commentary tonight or today has been to the ratepayer, but there's more people that live in our community than just ratepayers, and they also add value and add to our livability of our city. And it's to these members that we ask for their feedback, to take the time now, because it's more important than ever to actually read this draft and contact councillors and have your input and have your say. And I look forward to this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lowe. Councillor Chamberlain to close.
Thank you. Just on a couple of those points, I do want to show my appreciation, certainly, for not only the financial staff, as I've already pointed out earlier, but the staff in general, including Matt and everyone below him. We went through and have been through a fairly difficult, very difficult, let's be honest, restructure in order to meet these targets and become financially sustainable. And in order to not pass on to the incoming council, however that council may look at the end of this year, a very difficult financial situation that they would have to address immediately. We took the difficult decision to address the whole 2.8 that we were aware of we've since become aware of the fact that there might be more, so they're going to have enough decisions to make. Well, I'm not about slashing and burning, which is the reason I pointed out earlier about the money we are spending on service delivery and the fact that we've still got a capital works budget and a capital works budget ongoing. There's nothing easier than to spend other people's money if you're of that bent. I'm not. If someone else trusts me with their money, I try to do the responsible thing and give them value for what they give me to spend. And I need to be aware that I'm not spending my own money. I can't go out there and just buy stuff because it'll be good and it'll be fun. I've got to justify it, and I've got to fully justify it. The discussions here today are a purely financial nature. This is a budget. And although I know there's a whole lot of things on the wish list that we'd love to have and we'd love to build, but we must have the financial stability to be able to do it going forward. And I hate that comment, going forward, but it's true. Our financial plan puts us in modest surplus for the next 10 years and gives us a found basis on which to do things into the future. It can't and won't take into account things like asset sales that we can't realise at this point, or government grants that we may be able to get to provide some of the infrastructure that Councillor Lowe referred to earlier. Those things may and hopefully will occur in the natural scheme of things with future councils. All we can do is give a solid base in order to do that stuff, and this budget, I believe, and council plan, financial plan, gives us that base. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Chamberlain. I'll put that motion. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. There are no confidential business items at item 6 and no other business on the committee agenda, so I declare the meeting closed at 1:42. Thank you.